Okay, so we have the Three of Wands. This is something that we have been waiting for a really, really long time for. And you guys are very, very patient in general. You know, you don't get anxious, you don't get restless. And even if you do, you don't let it show in your demeanor, in the way that you're interacting with other people. You rarely show your impatience with other people, with situations. So I feel like you have been patiently, diligently, you know, just minding your own business, working at your craft, building up your wealth, waiting for the next step. Okay. And I feel like for many of you, this is pretty much the next step in your career. We have the Six of Wands. This is like prestige, getting recognition, being, somebody who other people look up to, and they're going to look at you. They want to, you know, pick your brains. They want to ask you for advice and expertise. And this is also somebody that has, you know, a lot of recognition. They have a lot of achievement under their belt. So many of you are in this position where the things that you have worked really, really hard at, and the things that, you know, you've contributed to society in some way, or the things that your skills that you carry with you, the things that are of substantial value are being recognized, are being harvested, are being realized by other people. So there's a major, I feel, possibly 3 paths, 2 paths when it comes to your career. Okay, where do I want to go? What is the best option for me? I feel like many of you might be at a crossroads where you're trying to figure out, you know, what is my next move? What is the next stage? What is the next thing that I'm meant to be? And in a way, I feel like Piscean people are very, very spiritual in general, and you believe in signs, you believe in synchronicities, and you believe that you believe in like the divine guiding you. So you see signs and you see patterns, and you feel like those signs and those patterns are created in your environment just for you, to guide you in the right direction, to help you make the right decision. And I feel like there's a lot of spiritual hits coming through where you are being divinely pointed towards the right direction. And so I'm seeing some major decisions. Okay, this is like a brand new path opening. So you can see kind of like the land clearing up. And these two people, you know, they're just like, we've made it, we've conquered it. Now, what is the next step? And so there is internal conflict here. 5 of Wands. Okay, this is like not so much fighting with other people, more so fighting with yourself between what is the practical route that you need to take versus the route that you feel you're emotionally or mentally, or in some type of way that you can't really describe, like intuitively drawn to. So I feel like there are 2 paths that are opening up, and you're not really sure which road to take. Okay, one road is going to take you to the top of your career path. King of Wands. This is someone who's made it. This is someone who rules, like, you know, a kingdom. Okay, he's looking at all his subjects. He's making sure that everyone is well fed. And so you're in an environment where things are very cushy, right? He can stay here forever. Like he exerts authority. He's well taken care of. His subjects are well taken care of. So it's a very, very comfortable, lush, I want to say plentiful environment. So you're going to keep advancing, keep climbing, and keep, you know, keep at it wherever you're at. So it's a very, very comfortable situation. On the other hand, we have another path where you're dealing with a little bit more, I want to say, instability, unpredictability. You might be in an environment where, you know, the work is a little bit more challenging. The work is a little bit more unpredictable. There might be a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of risk associated with making the wrong decision. Not so much there isn't a right or a wrong decision with your own personal decision. But what I feel is this job, you've already known it in and out, okay? You're already at the peak of your career. This job, on the other hand, it's like there's a lot of risk about making the wrong choice. Making the bad decision or making the wrong choice garners real life consequences, okay? So I feel like this is what is really drawing you. But there's a lot about you feeling like, I don't want to fail, I don't want to mess up, I don't want to do something wrong, because there are real world consequences. Whereas in this job, I'm already where I need to be. I already know everything inside and out. And so while this offer is coming to you, I feel like, there isn't a right or a wrong choice. I feel almost like somebody coming in wanting to appease you, wanting to like bargain with you, wanting to barter, wanting to, really keep you around. So they're making like a gesture. And I feel like you're in a very good position if you're like negotiating your salary, negotiating anything for the month of October, you're in a very, very good position, because I feel like the other person or the other group or the other situation is coming to you, taking the initiative to make you multiple offers that you can't refuse. Okay, so you're in a very good position. Money looks really, really good. And you have two cards. I feel that Aquarius also received. Okay, so we have the Ten of Pentacles. This is a very stable, it's a situation that stands the test of time. Okay, it's a very stable, structural type of an environment where things have been built over time, where there is like a support system, where there are networks, where there are like linkages that have been established over time, over many, many, many years, and I would say decade. It's a situation that is very stable, and it garners, or it promises, a lot of financial abundance. Okay, so wherever you go, there isn't a right or a wrong choice here, Pisces, and I feel like you're caught between, comfort and stability. And then there's this alluring second choice here, where there's a lot of risk, there's a lot of excitement, and there's also a lot of like needing to think on your feet. And I feel like because this other situation is so dynamic, it promises a lot more prosperity and a lot more wealth down the line. Okay, so for those of you who are in a position where you're negotiating or you have been offered a position, this is an offer that didn't come lightly. Okay, it's not like they're, rounding every Joe Schmo down the street and offering him a job. Okay, a lot of people are vying for this position, but higher ups, whoever is in charge, they've got you in mind and they're willing to really keep you. So they're willing to negotiate with you on your terms. So this is a card as well about competition. So I feel like it's like you decimated your opponents. You really, really stand out. And I feel like your diligence when it comes to your work and being responsible and being like, being very intuitive about, making, taking risks and things like that really pays off. And at this point, they really want you. Okay. I'm also feeling this energy in terms of like partnerships as well, where there might have been, two options. Okay. There is one option here for stability, and then another option for excitement, like extreme excitement. And I feel like, once again, there isn't a right or a wrong choice. It's just a matter of whether or not you are ready. Okay. Whether or not you're ready for that commitment. If you are, then by all means, be prepared to enter it for the long haul. And then on the other hand, there is a situation here where it's more about, excitement, and it might be something that can, I feel like a situation where you're getting to know somebody a little bit more on the superficial level, like the relationship has the potential to deepen. Okay. But on the surface, it seems like there's a lack of compatibility. You might argue all the time, conflict. Okay. You might not really agree with each other on an ideological level. The swords indicate, mental processes, thoughts, beliefs, ideologies. And I feel like there's a lack of innate compatibility. However, for whatever reason, the two of you can build together and the relationship can deepen, and there's a tremendous sense of trust as well. So you might not be totally compatible when it comes to the things that you like and you don't like, but deep down there's a mutual sense of like, really respecting the other person's intelligence and respecting the fact that they're going to be there. They're going to be like an equal partner. And then they likewise, feel the same way about you. So there is definitely a softer choice, safer choice here, but there's also a more dynamic, a more, this has more friction in it, I feel, but it has the potential for longevity as well. So I definitely feel you have either like, you know, two people or two career paths, and you're at kind of like that major fork in the road. And I feel like there isn't really a wrong choice. It's just, you know, allowing the experience to come in and then choosing to experience something first and then maybe experiencing this other thing later. So I feel like for many of you, there is definitely crossroads, decisions, and things like that. And I would say don't fret over it. Okay. What I'm also sensing as well is you have a lot of divine protection and divine guidance. And I feel like this is what I normally call like ancestral karma. Okay. We have here the Six of Pentacles. This is like very, very strong, good karma coming back home to roost, okay? Whatever good deeds you have done, and you guys are, aside from like, you know, the Aquarius people, you guys are huge humanitarian signs of the zodiac, okay? You guys care about the underserved population. You guys, it's almost like your heart bleeds for others who are suffering, okay? And so there have been a lot of good deeds, a lot of good acts that you've done over the years, and they have not been unnoticed. You might feel in the midst of it that, you know, I've done so many good things for other people and they just take advantage of me. And I feel like, you know, the whole concept about, you know, giving alms and serving others is that we want to uplift them. We don't want anything in return. Because if you look at it, okay, those the beggars on the street, they don't have anything to give back. So when we give of ourselves, of our time, money, resources, whatever it is, we want to do it for the betterment of the other person. We don't really want anything in return because they're not in a position to give us anything in return. And so I feel like there's a tremendous good karma coming back into the picture. And I feel like for many of you, the career portion has been at a stalemate for quite some time. I would say like for the past 5 years, your path kind of meander, okay? Some of you might feel like a little bit stagnant when it comes to your career. Others of you are just like waiting for that big break, okay? Waiting for like a change in your career path or doing something that is not so mundane and you know, mindless. And so what we have here with the Emperor energy is somebody in a higher up position. They are really taking notice of you. And I feel like this is one of the ways in which the spiritual, you know, good karma can manifest is being very visible to, you know, people in positions of authority that can really help your career. And I feel like, you know, you're getting a little boost from the other side where somebody that is helping you stand out, helping you in some way. And one of the stories that, I want to just mention very quickly so you understand where I'm coming from. You know how like sometimes when you're like, when you're in a new work environment, right? For some reason, for example, you have like, you know, a secretary, Sue. Every time she comes around your cubicle or your office, she always sees you kind of like spaced out. So in her opinion, she's all like, oh, the Pisces is like spacey and not doing a lot of work and not very productive. But every time, you know, IT technician Joe comes around, you're always typing away. You're always like eating at your desk and you're always like super hyper productive. And so IT guy Joe always thinks the Pisces person is so hardworking. So it's kind of strange how certain people have different perception of us, right? Based on their limited experience or interaction with us. But for whatever reason, there's a pattern. Every time Joe sees you, you're always like working. And then every time Sue sees you, you're always like spaced out or, you know, on your phone. So it's just, you know, they're getting a very narrow snippet of your of your environment, okay? They're getting a very narrow snippet or understanding or assessment of you. So what I'm feeling here is there is some type of a synchronicity associated with the person in a position of power who can really help, who can really make or break your career. And for some reason, this person, whenever they see you, thank God, you're always at your best. You're always working. And so in their mind, they're like, I don't know what anybody says about the Pisces. They're very, very hardworking. And I feel like you've registered on their radar for being a hard worker, or for being a good worker, for being diligent, for getting the task done. This is someone who's very hard to please. Okay. With this Emperor energy, this is someone who rules empires, so they have to make rational decision. They value ingenuity, they value hard work, they value, in a way, doing things by the book, okay? Because I always associate the stone bench, as someone who's a judge and who's a juror, someone who is, you know, a little bit like hard to please, and they really have a deep, innate understanding of people and their motives and things like that. They don't see any hidden motives in you. They see you at your best. And I feel like, for some reason, they're always watching. And so I feel like there might be a situation where success is very, very slow, as indicated by this, you know, tortoise. Success is coming in. They've been working behind the scenes to manifest things and to pull things into your orbit, okay? And I feel like there will be some type of a major offer coming through when it comes to your career. And it's going to break open and open up a new path for you. We have here things coming in, your ships finally coming in, things that you've long awaited for, and things that are, you know, right up your alley, that are meant for you. So I feel like one of the advice that is coming out of this spread here, we don't have any suit of, well, we have the sword energy. We only have one suit of water. This is the Knight of Cups, okay? This is your energy. A little bit like trepidatious. You know, this is not someone who's very aggressive. This is someone who's very likable. This is someone who, like, you know, likes to ask coworkers, how was your weekend? You know, how was the game? How are the kids? You make the rounds, and you know, you're very amicable, you're very likable, and you know, I feel like you're quite popular in your environment. This is the month where we are going to need to be a little bit more action oriented, okay? I'm seeing all the wands here. King of Wands, Five of Wands, Three of Wands, and the Six of Wands. And the Emperor, which is a major firehouse, okay? So what I'm seeing for this month is we need to quicken the pace. We need to be a lot more assertive. We need to be, you know, a little bit more proactive about going after what we want. If someone is coming in with an offer, you want to be a little bit more strategic. You want to bargain. You want to, you know, negotiate in a way where it would benefit you. Never mind, you know, you guys are very conscientious. You don't like to inconvenience people. So you might say like, oh, is that too, like, modesty? You know, you have this sense of modesty. Oh, is that too much? I don't want to drive, you know, such a hard bargain. And then they can't meet it, and then they never get back to me. This is a month where it would be in your best interest to bargain or negotiate smartly, because I feel like somebody really, really wants you for the job, for the position, and it could be work, it could be relationship. So this is the month where it is very important for you to kind of be very clear about what you want, and, you know, not compromise on that, okay? Because I feel like you're in the driver's seat, and you're in a position where you can have exactly what you want, where you can exact change, and where you can, you know, pull the right thing towards you, because everything that you've been working really hard at has substantive value, and other people see that, okay? That's what I'm sensing. I feel like further down the line, there is a position of leadership that is kind of like, in line. And I want to say like, 2 or 3 years, possibly in 3 years time, it's almost like being groomed for a position of leadership. That's what it feels like to me, being groomed. They see that you're a very sociable type of a person. A lot of people like you. And a lot of the times too, upper management, they look at that, they look at someone who's likable. They look at someone who's easygoing, but they also want someone who's very competent and capable of doing the work. But, social niceties and being able to blend in with coworkers and being able to like understand coworkers and connect it to coworkers, it goes a long way in the world of management, I guess. And so I feel like, they're seeing a lot of good qualities in you and they're trying to groom you. And they're just like, this person is really, really nice. They need to be a little bit, I'm sorry. They're thinking the Pisces person is very, very, very nice, very sweet, soft-hearted, sympathizes with a lot of people, empathizes with a lot of people's struggle. And it's wedged between King of Wands and the Emperor. So they feel like you have to take more initiative. They feel like they would like it if you can toughen up a little bit. And I feel almost like they want these changes in you, mainly because there's a position here where it's like it's made for you. They're grooming you for that position. So I do feel like there's a major breakthrough here, a position of power or prominence in about, possibly 3 months time, or even like a 3 years time, where you're going to be managing, supervising, or overseeing the work of, subordinates, or it's a high power, high impact type of a work, and they want you to be a part of it. Okay. You have some really positive things coming into the picture for you. And I just feel like, I can't stress enough, this is kind of like a major fork in the road, a major turning point. And I also feel like, it's like the dawn is breaking and the path is being shown. And I feel like someone has been working behind the scenes to make this culminate for you. Okay, so it's not just a coincidence. I feel like it's actually coming into the picture. I'm just going to pull out. I feel like the reading's a little bit short compared to the other signs. So let me just pull out. Let's do 3 cards. What else do you want Pisces to know for the month of October? Okay. So what I have here is the Empress. This is also a number 3. Okay. This is about expansion, communication. And what I'm really drawn to is that winding path that she's looking at up the mountain. Okay. This is somebody who is, I feel like especially for many of you, you could be male or female. If you've been kind of like a stay-at-home, mother or father, and you're just feeling a little bit antsy and you want to get your career restarted, or you're in a position where you're just like, oh, I've been at home for so long, my skills are rusty, I don't want my skills to get rusty, I want to be back on the job market. I feel like you're definitely juggling here and having a major conversation with your partner. And the partner, we have here the King of Pentacles, and this is traditionally somebody who brings home the bacon, right? Somebody who's like, a caretaker in the home, like a provider. Excuse me, not so much a caretaker. This is the caretaker, the Empress, but this is the provider. And so I feel like you might be dealing with another person who, if you're in a relationship, especially, where if they're just at home taking care of the home, and there's nothing wrong with that, we also value housework because somebody's got to do it, right, to keep the whole household afloat, right? So I feel like somebody might be feeling like, oh, I don't really want this life, I want to get out and get back into the labor market. And then I feel like there's a discussion here about finances. For example, if you have children and you and your partner are just like, well, if you work, then who's going to take care of the kids? And then if we have to put them into childcare, we have to put them in daycare, and it gets really expensive. So there's definitely some major calculations that you and a partner are making regarding somebody returning back to the labor force, wanting to work so that their skills don't get rusty, wanting more out of life, wanting a career, wanting to jumpstart some type of a career.